Денег всегда и везде не хватает.
С праздником вас! С Днем Великой Победы! Ура!
When a country that once claimed to command the world's second most powerful army begins struggling to pay its bills, when its leaders are forced to admit money is short, and when oil, its lifeblood, is literally going up in flames, you know the war has entered a new phase. Tonight, we take you inside Vladimir Putin's unraveling war economy, drone strikes, collapsing revenues, vanishing reserves, and the mysterious deaths of men who knew too much. Russia's war effort is now colliding head-on with the hard limits of its economy. Ukraine's drone and missile strikes have shifted from symbolic blows to sustained, calculated damage against energy infrastructure. Nearly a fifth of Russia's oil refining capacity has been shut down by Ukraine in recent months, and by mid-September, the nation was close to cutting oil output because it was unable to process or export the oil it pumped, according to Reuters. Important ports for the shipment of crude oil to China, India, and Turkey, such as Ust-Luga and Primorsk, have been hit. Since the majority of state revenue comes from the export of crude oil rather than refined gasoline, each hit has an immediate impact on Russia's budget. For this reason, experts quoted by Euronews said Ukraine had hit the nail on the head when it came to attacking energy installations. The scale of these attacks is unprecedented. Refineries burning for days, export terminals shutting down, and production units worth billions suddenly offline. What makes these strikes more potent is that Russia cannot easily replace this infrastructure under Western sanctions. Spare parts for advanced compressors, catalysts, and control systems are banned, and parallel imports cannot fill the gap. In this way, every drone that finds its mark is also a sanction delivered by fire. It's why analysts in Washington and Brussels see this economic front as just as decisive as the battlefield in Donbass or Kharkiv.
It's official. Russia's authorities admitting that Russia is on the edge of a recession. I anticipate that this level of military spending will remain even if the war ends tomorrow. China quite successfully substituted European countries and European firms in terms of Russian imports and provides to Russia its market to sell hydrocarbons.
Russia is one of the most sanctioned countries on earth, and now its own Minister for Economic Development is warning that the country is teetering on the edge of recession. For more on the state of the Russian economy, I'm joined by Alexandra Prokopenko. She's a fellow at the Carnegie Russia-Eurasia Center. Alexandra, thank you for joining us. And I want to start with these comments from the Russian Minister of the Economy. They came recently, and how bad is it that a member of Putin's own government is admitting this kind of news?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me here. And second, it was anticipated. And I think here now we can say that it's official. Russia's authorities admitting that Russia is on the edge of a recession. In terms of Russia, this kind of recession doesn't mean the same as it is for instance, developed economies. So it wouldn't go with massive unemployment because Russia's unemployment now is 2.3%, and that's the historical low level.
The financial pressure shows in Moscow's own accounts. Russia's National Wealth Fund, once worth more than $100 billion in liquid reserves, is shrinking at an alarming rate. According to Business Insider, liquid assets are only around one-third of what they were before the war, and Anders Osland, an economist, has cautioned that the liquid part may run out within the year at the present pace of burn. Official inflation rates are already at 6%, but independent Russian analysts claim that actual price increases for food and fuel are much higher. Crimea and the Far East are experiencing gasoline shortages. According to Reuters, drivers have been waiting in line for hours just to be turned away. At the same time, however, the Kremlin is increasing its military spending. According to its own 2025 budget, defense and security account for around 40% of federal spending, which is at an all-time high since the Soviet era. That imbalance creates what Euronews called a war economy spiral. Every ruble printed to fund the invasion feeds inflation, which in turn forces the central bank to raise interest rates, further slowing growth. Russia's finance ministry has floated ideas once unthinkable: nationwide road tolls, new taxes on individuals and businesses, and stricter capital controls to stop money fleeing abroad. Meanwhile, ordinary Russians face wage stagnation, rising consumer prices, and vanishing savings. The Kremlin may project strength, but its balance sheet tells another story.
Professor, what is the truth here? Well, it's probably true that 18% interest rates are necessary to control inflation. It's also true that, or false, rather, that that is the problem of the Russian economy. Gref is talking his book, as it were, and the real problems are quite different. It's a war economy which has deprived consumers of consumption goods and is running out of labor because they're sending all these young men off to get killed. It is not just in this term technical stagnation. That's rubbish. It's stagnating. It's coming down to zero growth, and I think it will actually decline.
Overlaying this financial turmoil is a chilling pattern of elite deaths. Just this month, Alexander Tunin, head of Kimprom Engineering, was found dead near Moscow. His company was Russia's only domestic producer of carbon fiber critical for Shahed-type drones, the very weapons sustaining Russian attacks on Ukrainian cities. Western publications like The Economic Times emphasize the pattern of mysterious elite deaths that has plagued the conflict since 2022, while state media portrayed it as suicide and even mentioned a parting letter. CEOs of energy merchants, defense contractors, and oil companies have been discovered shot, drowned, or hanged, frequently in circumstances that are hard to believe. The Kremlin handles these as personal tragedies on paper. In order to maintain the wealthy's support for the war effort, analysts anticipate a combination of asset confiscation, coercion, and scare tactics. According to Ukrainian news, Tyunin's passing was advantageous to the government since it paid off outstanding debts and opened the door for more government oversight in his sector. What is clear is that Russia's oligarchs are seeking exits. Capital flight is surging. Transfers to foreign brokers have hit records, and gold exports have been restricted to prevent assets from leaving the country. In one case, a mining tycoon was physically barred from boarding his private jet, officials storming the tarmac to prevent him from taking billions abroad. These moves underscore how the Kremlin is treating private wealth as a war chest to be commandeered, and in that climate, voluntary loyalty looks increasingly indistinguishable from forced compliance. Yet the Kremlin is also trying to buy loyalty, literally. Russian Telegram channels are running recruitment ads that offer those who are willing to fight in Ukraine life-altering sums. According to reports, a first-year contract can pay up to 6 million rubles, with an instant signing bonus of almost $30,000. This is remarkable in a nation where the median monthly salary is close to $500. Families are guaranteed tens of thousands of dollars in compensation, while soldiers are granted debt forgiveness, additional stipends for children, and substantial settlements for injuries or fatalities. For many impoverished Russians, this appears to be the only way out of poverty rather than a sign of patriotism. However, the British Ministry of Defense has calculated that new conscripts' average frontline survival is only 9 days. This is a terrible calculation. That means the Kremlin is paying for bodies to hold the line, knowing turnover is brutal and constant. The cycle is self-perpetuating. A collapsing civilian economy pushes men into the army, while war spending props up defense factories and mercenary recruiters, even as the rest of the economy withers. Putin may boast that sanctions do not matter, but his actions reveal the truth. He is squeezing oligarchs, raiding reserves, taxing citizens, and paying lavishly for cannon fodder, all because Ukraine's drones and Western sanctions are steadily choking off the revenue streams that sustained his war. In the end, this is less about battlefield maps and more about economic gravity. No matter how loudly the Kremlin insists on victory, without money, the war machine stalls. And that is why, behind the slogans and staged appearances, Russia's leader now looks less like a confident conqueror and more like a man counting the last rubles in his war chest.